What would you do if you had the power to shut down the CIA at just 16 years old? Would you use it, abuse it, or walk away? Because one teenager didn't walk away. And what happened next shook the entire US government. He didn't use weapons. He didn't even leave his room. He used code. And in just 4 hours, the CIA website was gone. The government was embarrassed, and he was on the run. But here's the real question. Was he a criminal, a genius, or something else entirely? This is Mustafa Al-Bassam. Most 8-year-olds are struggling with math homework. Mustafa, he hacked an online calculator site just for fun. He wasn't stealing. He wasn't even showing off. He was curious. And that curiosity became an obsession. By age 9, he was hacking school servers, accessing teacher salaries, changing grades, not to harm, just to see if he could. The school let it go. But that decision sent a message. You're too smart to punish. And that was the start of something big and dangerous. At 13, Mustafa found a group that changed everything. Anonymous. They called themselves Internet Freedom Fighters, hacktivists, vigilantes. They fought censorship, took down websites, challenged governments, and Mustafa joined them. One of his first missions? Assisting in cyber operations that supported protests in Tunisia during their revolution. He was still a kid, but now he was launching digital attacks on real-world governments. Here's the danger. When you're young and brilliant, it's easy to convince yourself that anything done in the name of a cause is justified. And soon the line between right and wrong would blur completely. Mustafa leveled up. He joined LulzSec, a breakaway group from Anonymous. They weren't fighting injustice anymore. They were chasing headlines. They said it was all for fun. But what came next was anything but funny. LulzSec launched Operation Anti-Sec. Their targets: FBI affiliates, cybersecurity companies, and finally, the CIA. They used a technique called a distributed denial of service attack, flooding the CIA's public website with fake traffic until it crashed. The site went down. The internal systems froze. The US intelligence machine was disrupted by a teenager sitting in his bedroom. But this wasn't a game anymore, and someone was already watching. LulzSec had a problem. One of their own, a co-founder known as Sabu, had already been arrested and flipped by the FBI. He kept pretending to be one of them, kept hacking, kept encouraging attacks. But he was feeding the FBI everything: chat logs, usernames, operations. So while Mustafa was hacking US infrastructure, his messages were already being copied into government case files. Then came the knock. The police stormed his home, seized his computers, charged him with 80 cyber crimes, and just like that, the golden child of hacking was no longer a ghost on the internet. He was a suspect in handcuffs. Mustafa pled guilty, but he didn't go to jail. Instead, he was given a suspended sentence, 320 hours of community service, and one very tight cyber monitoring order. He couldn't buy or throw away a computer without telling the police. He couldn't delete his browser history. But Mustafa, being Mustafa, he found a loophole. They never said I couldn't use private browsing mode. That line says everything. But this time, his path was about to change for good. Today, Mustafa is a cybersecurity professional. He earned a PhD in blockchain. He founded a security company. He advises governments on how to defend against the very attacks he once launched. The skills never changed, but his purpose did. That's what we want to leave you with today. Raw talent is powerful, but if it's not guided, it becomes dangerous. If you're learning to hack, don't use your skills to tear things down. Use them to build, to protect, to defend. Be the force for good in cyberspace. If this story made you think differently, hit that like button. If you're ready to walk the ethical path in cybersecurity, subscribe. And if you want to learn from more real stories that can protect your future, watch the next video. Because your journey to becoming a cyber warrior starts right now.